Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm just going to use this very short session to offer my concluding thoughts about the game Space Hulk Death Angel. Now, I've already put up my introduction and you've seen the playthrough, which I hope made sense. Um, there is hardly anything bad I have to say about this game, if anything at all. It is a deeply evocative game for people who happen to be fans of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. And if, like me, as a youngster, you played Space Hulk, the board game, this will bring back a lot of happy memories. And it really is, I think you could fairly describe this as card-based Space Hulk in a little box. It is a very clever design. It is wonderfully portable. I play this on my daily commute. All I have to do is upend my work bag on my lap, empty out the cards, sort everything out, and you can play this game on a 1.5 by 1 foot area on a moving train. It is that versatile. Um, I appreciate it's very hard to find now, which is a great pity. If Fantasy Flight Games and Games Workshop could ever see their way to starting to produce this again, it would be wonderful. As I say, it's very evocative for fans of the universe and of the Space Hulk board game in particular. You can really get into it. If you let your imaginations run a tiny bit wild, you can actually feel like you are your squad of Space Marines clomping through this dark and forbidding ship, trying to carry out your mission. It's really good that way. Um, I like the different play modes. There's an awful lot of versatility. I like that you can play it as a solitaire game where, okay, you have slightly better situational awareness, but you have fewer Marines. And in some respects, you have fewer options because, of course, each squad only has that hand of 3 cards. So the fewer Marines you have, um, okay, you can read each other's minds with perfect clarity because it is just you playing the game. But it's still a tense challenge. There are always too many Gene Stealers or Tyranids if you're playing with the expansion, and you never have enough options. You have very powerful weaponry, but it doesn't always hit its mark, and you do get that feeling of growing nervousness as the opposition builds and builds and builds. Um, and you end up, if I can wave the box at you again, you see that evocative box art where the Marines are standing their ground, but they're clearly surrounded by Gene Stealers. And you feel that. You go, oh my God, they're all around us. Ah, and you're not killing them quickly enough. Now in the multiplayer modes, it's great. The game adjusts the scale of the map depending on how many players there are and how many subsections of a Space Marine squad you have to play with. So the more of you, obviously, the longer the map. You have more options, but there are also more Gene Stealers appearing on the map at a slightly faster rate. The missions are well designed. They all have a unique feel to them. They're all very much in keeping with the lore of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. So you feel very much at home. Now, I have come back repeatedly to how good a game this is if you are a Warhammer 40,000 fan. But I think there's a lot of enjoyment for people even if they are not, because at the end of the day, it's still a very clever system. It requires a good bit of logical thinking, fair bit of tactical acumen, an ability to cope with the unexpected, and lastly, I would say a little bit of mind reading if you're playing the team games. You can play a version where you can freely communicate about your choices, and that makes life a lot easier. There's a much harder style of play where each player just controls their own subset of Space Marines, chooses their cards independently and places them face down, and then everyone reveals. And interesting stuff can happen in that scenario. You know, you might be hoping and praying your teammates will do something that benefits you or perform a certain action that you can capitalize on, but you're never sure. Now, all this, whether you're a fan of the universe or not, is great because you have this wonderful, tense, cooperative experience, and yet wrapped around a rules package which is really simple. I'm very impressed by the rule book. The concepts are explained clearly, easily. They don't give in to the temptation to use any sort of jargon. A few of pages within the rule book are actually flavor text. In fact, if I quickly wave it in front of you there's the very handy player aid on one side, and there's a tiny little bit of flavor text in story form for those who like this sort of thing. Definitely me. So yeah, this game came into my possession at a time when I thought I'd pretty much left the Warhammer 40,000 universe behind me, and it was enough to almost single-handedly bring me very enthusiastically back into it. So if you ever do get a chance to play Space Hulk Death Angel, I really don't think you'll be disappointed. It is a fantastic game. It is well designed, it's streamlined, it was clearly play tested to death to iron out any kinks. For its size, it is a triumph. In terms of its quality of production, it's classic Fantasy Flight material. They go for pretty games, and it's become their trademark. Fantasy Flight produces lovely games. Games Workshop brings a wonderful, wonderful, rich, if very dark universe. And a meeting of the two is what gives you, show you all again, this sort of perfection. Cannot recommend this game too highly. Thank you very much.